All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody for the Former Farm Kid channel. Today, project du jour is leveling a black walnut slab. And here's the setup. It's got the rails, we've got a 4-foot wide table by 8. The lawn dimension is a little overkill, but the width certainly isn't, so that I can handle about 3 foot, just a little over 3-foot slabs. And got a porta cable. I think that's 2 horsepower. I'm not really sure. And this may be the last pass on this slab. I'm getting just about 90% of it. I generally don't go so that every single little low spot has been met. I don't mind having just a slight dip through here. This will sand out pretty well, but I'm going to see. I'm back here right now. This corner is very low, so I'm not going to get to it. It will end up being sanded out. And this will be a nice piece for a blue water fill. And this imperfection down here, probably down here. At the very least, I'll put epoxy in those. And this is going to be a real lake effect here with tributaries, I call it. So I will route this soft part out, or just knock it out, and fill that so you get a little bit of the river and tributary effect. This piece down here, I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to do with that. I may just petrify it with epoxy. I don't know, we'll see. This corner right here has to come off just to kind of correct the symmetry a little bit. So this is actually a smaller piece, and it's about 5 feet, I believe. Not quite as wide as I normally do. I can only take a little wider than this. So my setup then is to keep the dust down. I take my dust collector and just knock it down, and take the fill line, strap it down to the table so it's blowing all this dust out of my face and out of the area. I still mask up and all that good stuff, but you can see how much sawdust this creates. I mean, I see guys doing this inside. I don't see how anybody does this inside, because the dust that is created is, I can't think of anything else that creates as much dust. And I've got a I don't know if we can see my bit here or not. I think you can there. I think I did have, what did I have? A 2-inch, I believe, a bigger one than this. And I cut down the size of my bit because it just chatters too much, and it was leaving ridges in the finish. Because what happens is, when you have that wide a blade, it kind of tugs down a little bit, it seems. And what I found out, you want the main locking support to the left of the bit, because that's where it's doing the hardest pull. You don't want to be leading with this side of the router. So I'm going to set it up here, get a few minutes of cutting, and let you see what that looks like. Okay, so last pass, what I try to do is never taking more than half a bit. And unfortunately, this could have been my last pass because there's only two little low spots on this, but I failed to tighten up my clamp, and I have a feeling that my router changed elevation here a little bit, and at least it looks like it. So I generally make a last pass anyway with basically half the depth. So this is going to be, what would this be? A 30-second, taking a 30-second off. And I don't mind this spot right here. It's barely down. Once you get the finish on everywhere and get it sanded, when you sit at this table, you cannot tell. And the same with this little spot back here. I would rather have it just a bit of a dip here, just a hair, than continue to whittle away the thickness of the table. So, you know, it's a compromise, and it's one that I find is well worth doing because it basically doesn't affect the quality of the table at all. Now, if I were selling these are for donation, and if I were selling them, would I go ahead and take it down? Well, probably, because this is a pretty thick piece of black walnut. So I do have the depth to be able to do that, but for myself and for donation, I'd rather leave it a little thicker. So I don't know if the camera picks it up a whole lot, but yeah, I'm pretty sure my router changed a little bit. So this pass will clean all that up. This does sand out. I use the monocoat, the Rubio monocoat, and it says don't go any lower than 150, and a 150 grit cleans this up really well. Sometimes it takes a little effort, but I find the smaller bit and not going too fast, never going over half the width of the bit, so you're always chewing into it and not down on it, or cutting on the backslide or the back turn. And I never cut pulling back to me either. So the leading edge of the bit is always going into the wood like this, never cutting back on around. You just get a smoother cut. When you have a lot of material to remove and the wood is green, you can pretty much go nuts on it. But I would recommend still doing that clean cut at the end. Okay, guys, so remember, when you do good and suffer for it and endure, that is graciousness before the Lord. So that's something for people who do a lot of serving at the church and donating their time, doing different projects and those type of things. We have a garage sale every year, and these tabletops go on to that. This one I'm probably going to price, we price pretty cheap at the garage sale. And normally I sell these raw at like $250. Well, this is going to be leveled for a top. And in the garage sale, we put it on at $100. This one we'll probably put on at $200. And then we do a half price sale when there's like 2 hours left in it. If anybody's interested in coming and buy one of these, this one in particular, I'm not going to put finish on this one. I'm going to leave that for whoever buys it. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. God bless. Keep up the great work. Bye.